Welcome boys! In this video I'm going to show you how to hardwire a dash camera to your car to a toggle switch. And this vehicle installation is going to be specific to the P71, my Crown Victoria, but the concept is going to be the same for anything else you want to wire a toggle switch for. The only difference is going to be where you get your power supply. So these are the two cameras we got going on here. They're both the exact same. This HD high definition car recorder, full HD 1080, made in China. And we're going to have one in the front, one in the back. So the very first thing we're going to do after we unbox these things is you're going to want to immediately cut the little 12 volt adapter thing that steps down the voltage from 12 volts to 5 volts, because we're going to have to hardwire that into the car. So next jump cut is going to be that already done and us doing some soldering, and then after that we'll proceed into the vehicle and finish this video up. And this is what we have for voltage regulator wise. So we're going to take this dude, which goes from 12 volts to 5 volts. We're going to crack it open. The power is going to come in here, same with the ground, and then this end is what's going to go to the camera wires. So let's get it cracking. so here's what we got then. Power and ground are going to come in on this side. This is going to go to the camera, but we will have to wire in a fuse. One of these dudes. But we'll do that once we get outside and show you how the rest of the wiring is going. And this is what we've done so far off camera. The rest of everything will be time-lapsed. So we have our camera mounted back there, camera mounted up here. We have a wire going up into the headliner, as you see, same as in the back. Now the rear wire, it goes up through the headliner, down the C-pillar, behind the back seat, and then down through this little tunnel where when I pulled that piece of plastic off, you see the wiring come out. So I cut it, and we have it spliced here into this set of wires, which runs up behind this weather stripping, behind the side of the dash here, up the A-pillar, through the headliner. That's where it's meeting that camera. So the first thing we want to do after we wire up our thingy over there, our voltage regulator guy, step-down transformer perhaps, is, and removing all this, is you splice these two wires together. They're already soldered together. Positive to positive, negative to negative. We're going to leave them exposed like that. Now the next order of business is our switch. So I've already got the dash inside with a switch mounted in there. It's going to be roughly right around here. But this is an extra one I have, so you can see, according to this, assuming this is right, I'm reading it correctly, earth should be ground, load should be going to the thing, and then supply is where our power supply is coming in. Because according to that, it looks like the switch moves from load to supply. So, we need to run a hot wire to the bottom, a ground to the top, and then coming off of the switch here in the middle is going to be what's going to our cameras. So, I recommend after you do that, the first order of business is you find your power supply constant if you're going to switch this. And in here, you'll notice that looks eerily similar to that over there. Ford already pre-wired this thing for dual spotlights. Now over here in Missouri, I don't think any agency even uses dual spotlights because we don't have two-man cars over here, because we don't have that much crime when compared to places like California, New York, all those other major metropolitan areas. So with that said, that is running constant hot. Now, I found you could use another, if you had a spare spotlight handle, take that. What I did was, a while back, if you watch one of my videos on that Harbor Freight solar charger thing that I got chilling on the vet right now, when I spliced it into some voltage regulator thingy, I cut a wire. One of them was this male thing. This male thing fits right into there perfectly fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take hot, and we're going to run this wire. I just need to add it to here. We're going to run it behind this panel. So it's coming down, coming through here. It's going to snake along here, go down, in through here, out through there. Well, in, stay in, and then come out, and then it's going to plug into that switch. So that's where our power is going to be. And then the ground, down here, there was a self-tapping screw I found, which must be for some prior old police equipment. So we're going to have a ground attached to that self-tapping screw. It's going to run up through the same route, and then it's going to hit the top of that switch, the earth. And then we're also going to have another one of those. It's going to run from the same ground, and it's going to go into our voltage regulator guy there where those two black things are. I'm going to twist those together and then add it to that other ground. So we're going to have two grounds coming off of that self-tapping screw. They're going to run the same route. Because when we have the power coming off the switch, it's going to go back through here. And then right through here is where it's going to attach. This happens to be a perfect spot that looks just like our little step-down transformer guy. So we can probably tuck that in here and it's going to stay right in there just fine, I believe. So that'll go there. But if for some reason it can't, and I need a slight bit amount of room, I might be able to kind of wire it up down here and then shove it up in there. But I think I can finagle it this direction. And then, so power from the switch is going to come off, and that's where that other ground's going to meet it. Going in, and coming out, we're going to have the wires run from the transformer, now that it's 5 volts, back this direction, down here, and then in all this extra space I have is where we're going to put our fuse. And then once that's wired in place, the hot coming off of the fuse is going to be spliced into our hot there. And then that should be all we need. And then the negative, of course, that's going to be also coming out of the voltage regulator end. Off of this side where that blue thing is, that'll go to there, and then that negative will go to there, and then we should have a full-blown electrical current once that switch is flipped to on. But we'll see how that goes, so we're just going to time-lapse everything now that you know the procedure. Alright, moment of truth, boys. We got the fuse in. We got this wired. So I think once I flip the switch, there should be a red light on here and the camera should turn on. We have a red light here, red light there. That camera's on. That camera is on. Hooray! Alright, I'll button this thing up and then we'll go for a ride, because I gotta put the actual switch there and the panel back and wire loom all that up, unless you really want to see me do that. I'm guessing you're not going to, but we plan on doing all this and making it all nice and good to go. Clean it up as it's. And there we have it, boys. So she's all hooked up. Now the camera's charging right now, so switch is flipped on, but I just powered them off. So if you look, you can see a red light on them. Flipping that kills out the power. Flipping it on to where the LED is on, gives it power. We're done. The only thing we need to do now is put my little kick panel in here, and our 5 amp fuse will go back in there, and everything's buttoned up. I use some of this stuff, this spiral tubing for electric wires, so it just runs a spiral, and then that way wires can come and go as they please in and out. So I got it running up here, and then I got some running along here where all those wires were. So all the wires that were here, they're now inside some of that, tidied up, except for right here it kind of pokes out a little. I don't know if you can tell, but not enough that I really think it's that big of a deal. But we are golden. That is it. I now have front and rear facing cameras, and they do power on and off with a switch. Flip a switch. So all is well. So your mileage may vary. This may or may not be difficult. More difficult if you have a car that's not a P71. But in general, that's how you hardwire it. And on a P71, this is exactly how you want to wire it if you want to do it to a switch. And you may be saying to yourself, well, why didn't you just wire it to the ignition, or to some other circuit where wherever the ignition's on, it turns and powers them on and then off? Well, because A, you can't charge them that way, because now, you know, I can flip the switch but power these off manually, and then they're charging. Or, in case I park and I want to leave constant power to them, and just put them in parking mode or motion sense mode, I can leave the switch flipped on, put them in that particular parking mode, and then there you go. So that way the car's off and it can still record around it, should it need to and should I want it to. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.